The first article I wanted to look at is titled, Prophet Who Promised Trump Victory Says Only Other Prophets Can Question Him. This is by Beth Stoneburner on the Friendly Atheist website, and it actually comes with a video clip we're going to watch, and another clip by Hank Kunneman came out recently too, in addition to this one we're going to watch. So let's give this article a read and see what it says. How to Know You're in a Cult 101, when the leader says no one is allowed to question him except other leaders, which you are not, so shut your mouth. Well, I don't know about that. That's not really one of the qualifying factors, but this is absolutely a cult that this guy is in, and we'll get into that a little bit more. Let's keep reading. That's the latest statement from Nebraska preacher and false prophet Hank Kunneman of One Voice Ministries, who still hasn't apologized for his wrong predictions about Trump serving a second term, and who says Joe Biden is only president because of treason. On his show last week, Kunneman laughed out at a recent list of standards for so-called prophets. Among other things, the list said that if mature leaders can't evaluate the truth of a prophecy, the speaker should not be given a platform. That doesn't bode well for Kunneman, who lies in the name of Christianity regularly, so he denounced the very idea that anyone could question his failed predictions. Let's watch this clip by Kunneman and see what he had to say.
There's been a lot of signing of petitions and accountability they're calling for the prophets. I have no problem with the statement of accountability in the prophetic. I have no problem with the statement to identify prophets and what they are and false prophets. What I have a problem with is their statement or their stance. A lot of times people, they're standing, it's amazing, nobody wrote a letter and thanked me for all the years that I prophesied the other presidents and even President Trump.
Okay, let me give you a little background to this guy. He claimed that Donald Trump was going to be president again for a second term, and he said God told him that. I mean, and he wrote out this whole big thing that was supposed to be basically a new Bible book. It was like the Book of Kunneman, chapter 1, verse 3 kind of shit. He was adding books to the Bible, basically. God was supposedly giving him secret special information that nobody else had, right? And in that information that God was supposedly providing to this guy was the fact that Donald Trump was going to be president again for a second term, right? And he was wrong. The guy was wrong. He failed. He got it wrong. And instead of apologizing and admitting it, or at the very least shutting the fuck up about it and pretending it didn't happen, at least, he claims he was right all along. Now he's being forced to face his delusion. He's been called out by major news networks, by like Newsweek and a bunch of other newspapers, for being a complete fucking fool. So now he's defending the fact that he's a prophet by saying, nobody thanked me when I prophesied that all of the other presidents would become president. Who fucking cares? It's a 50-50 fucking guess. That's what this is coming out to. Like, this is turning out to be no better than guessing. His prophecies are. If they were actual prophecies from God, they would be correct 100% of the time. That tells me they're not actual prophecies from God, and you're full of shit. Let's keep listening.
No, but soon as something didn't look like it happened, boy, they jump on the bandwagon to attack you. And my question is, how many of those people that are attacking, are you a prophet? So how can you, the Bible says in 1 Corinthians 14 that the prophets are to judge the prophets. That's what it says.
Oh, interesting. So you're a prophet, and even though you unequivocally got it wrong, nobody can point that out to you and call you a charlatan because they're not prophets. In whose eyes? In whose eyes are they not prophets? Oh, in your eyes. They're not prophets in your eyes, and that means they can't call you a charlatan. Fascinating little protective box you've put yourself in there.
Prophet is to prophesy, okay? Let the others judge, the other prophets. That's what he was speaking about. And so, are they prophets? Do they stand in a fivefold office of a prophet? Second, do they...
Okay, before we go to point 2, let me just point out that there are prophets, quote unquote, who prophesied that Joe Biden would win the election. And guess what? Joe Biden won the election. So we have two groups of people. One group prophesied that Trump was going to win. One group prophesied that Biden was going to win. One group was correct. Does that mean that they are prophets by default? Of course it doesn't. It means they claimed something, and by happenstance, it just so happened to come true. If it's going to be a prophecy, it needs to be very specific. It needs to be hidden from public view until after the events unfold, so there's no chance of a self-fulfilling prophecy or contamination or whatever else. Instead, this guy makes vague gestures at what he believes may or may not happen. And if it happens, he's like, hey, that's a hit. I'm a prophet. See? This proves it. And when he's wrong, he says, no, you're wrong. This is an absolutely embarrassing line of reasoning. Let's keep listening.
Second, do they have a positional grace and an authority by God? Just because you're a prophet doesn't mean that you might be called to be a prophet to the nation. Okay, there's different rank and file and responsibilities that are given to the prophets or to any fivefold office.
And who decides who sits in this office, who sits in this position? Is there like a hierarchy who makes these decisions? Who's at the top of this hierarchy? Is there a fucking form you have to fill out? Do you get a badge when you become a prophet? Who issues these badges? And by whose authority do they issue these badges? Is this all just fucking made up, or is it just me?
And so you look at the list of people. Are they prophets? Yes or no? Second, if they are prophets, have they been assigned by Jesus, the Lord of the church, this is a holy thing, to prophesy to a nation?
Does Jesus send out mailing lists and stuff? I mean, does Jesus tell everybody in the country simultaneously? Does he get into our heads and all at the exact same moment say, these are the people that I've listed as prophets, blah, 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 blah. Hank Kunneman, Kenneth Copeland, Johnny Enlow. Is that what Jesus does? Or are you just completely fucking fabricating this? Because I know a billion people who believe that they're prophets and you're not. They believe they are and you aren't. So who's correct here? Are they correct or are you correct? How do we go about determining who is more correct? How can we rule out the possibility that you're full of shit? There's another clip that just released with this guy. Let's give this one a watch. This one came out one day after that last one.
He had released recently about how there were some prophetic ministers that supposedly had a dream that the B guy would...
The B guy, of course, being Biden.
Win and 45 would lose, and they are accurate prophets. No.
It's really weird that he's referring to Biden as the B guy and Trump as 45. I'm really not sure what his point is there. Does he not want to say their names for some reason? Is it like a non-profit 501c3 kind of thing that he can't say their name? I don't know. Why is he kind of dancing around it here? It's really weird.
Would win and 45 would lose, and they are accurate prophets. No, they aren't, because he won.
Okay, so he's saying here there were prophets who said that Biden would win and that Trump would lose, and people are saying they were right. Hey, I agree, they were right. Of course, they're not prophets. I don't believe that prophecy exists. I don't believe that God exists. That's fucking ridiculous. But they were correct in their prediction anyways that Biden would win, only by happenstance. But this guy is saying they were wrong. Trump actually won.
Prophets. No, they aren't, because he won.
This is like a week ago when this came out. This is embarrassing, man. Come on. Please, just move on with your life. This is so hard to watch sometimes because he's just, look at the shit-eating grin on his face. Like, he's just continuing to embarrass himself more and more. I don't know what's going through his head right now.
So you can call it whatever you want, and that they had the skinny beforehand, but the truth of the matter is he won. People who think that this election fraud is going to go away and that President Trump is going to go away, you don't understand that part of the visitation, this isn't worship, this isn't nationalism, this isn't an idolatry.
Oh, no? Okay, well, that's interesting that you bring that up because I have some really interesting shit to show you. You guys remember this picture here? This is a golden statue of Donald Trump. A golden statue of Donald Trump. Didn't some people get in some deep shit with God for making one of these golden statues? And here they are making another. Didn't they learn from their first fucking mistake? Like 5,000 years ago or whenever this was? This is so embarrassing. These people have no self-awareness. None. They're saying this isn't idolatry, as they literally build golden statues to this guy. If this isn't idolatry, I don't fucking know what is, honestly. And he's saying it's not idolatry, it's not nationalism, it's not this and it's not that. Weird he brings that up because that's exactly what this is.
You don't understand that part of the visitation, this isn't worship, this isn't nationalism, this isn't an idolatry. It is God's agenda and desire to use a man and an administration as part of his visitation.
Okay, so what he's saying here is it's not worship or idolatry or whatever else because Trump is basically like the new Jesus. He's not part of the Trinity or whatever, but he is the new Messiah. He's acting as Jesus acted. He's fulfilling things the same way that Jesus was supposed to fulfill things. That's why it's not idolatry. People have little statues of Jesus and all that shit, and they don't consider that idolatry. That's why this isn't idolatry or worship or whatever else. Let's keep listening.
To bless the church, to give the church religious liberties and freedoms for the greatest harvest.
Look at these people standing up and clapping, giving it an encore. This is so fucking sad, man. These people are brainwashed.
Are you listening? But we got people like the disciples that are saying, oh, it's a ghost, it's evil, oh. 46:1, no, 46 doesn't exist.
Why do people keep saying that? 46 doesn't exist. That's so fucking weird.
Tom Hanks is dead. Newsflash. Tom Hanks is dead.
That's right.
Okay? Joe Biden is dead.
Yes,
okay?
come on. He took the shot.
Clintons are dead, okay?
Yeah.
You got clones running this country.
See, you can pray for the office of the president. You can pray for a man named Joe Biden, but you cannot pray for President Joe Biden because he doesn't exist.
But you cannot pray for President Joe Biden because you might as well pray for the Easter Bunny because he don't exist. 46:1, no, 46 doesn't exist. God doesn't reward and bless a thief. But when a thief is found, watch, there's going to be spoil. He must pay back sevenfold, and that's what's coming to this nation.
Okay, another prediction. This is a brand new one. Just came out the pipeline. Can we hold your feet to the fire and say you were wrong when it turns out Biden doesn't have to pay back anything to the nation sevenfold or whatever the holy fuck you're talking about? Are you going to accept that you were wrong about that one when the time comes? Or are you just going to sit there and say you weren't wrong all over again? Just sit there and keep repeating, I was right all along, I was right all along. And people will just start to believe you after a while. If that doesn't push you over the edge into accepting that this is a cult, I've got another video for you. For the audience listening on the podcast, what we're looking at here is somebody's house, and it has Donald Trump and Melania Trump cardboard cutouts in their yard. They have Trump 2024 signs. They have signs that say, the media does not pick our president. A lot of you guys have probably seen this. This came from Twitter. Let's give it a watch.
I'm sorry that it's so herky-jerky with my camera at times, but wait till the end. Wait till you see the mailbox. This is a house in St. James, Long Island. I was so shocked driving by that I couldn't even control my camera. It had a sign that said, smile, you're on camera. So I hope they saw me, and I hope they have no shame, so I don't think they'd mind being all over TikTok. But this should be sent to cult deprogrammers and somebody else that might be able to intervene and help these people, because the inhabitants of this home are very, very mentally unwell. This is not the sign of a mentally stable human being. I feel bad if there's children in this home. I hope the whole house gets sunk into a sinkhole like in Poltergeist.
This isn't the kind of thing that you see healthy people doing? Mentally healthy people doing? Seriously. This is somebody's house. This is somebody's mailbox you're looking at right here. For the audience listening on the podcast, what we're looking at here is somebody's house, and it has Donald Trump and Melania Trump cardboard cutouts in their yard. They have Trump 2024 signs. They have signs that say, the media does not pick our president. Trump, wait, what's this say? Trump something proud. 2024, honk for Trump. I mean, this is a house that's completely decked out in Trump gear, Trump paraphernalia, top to bottom. It looks like somebody did a Halloween decoration theme, and it was Trump themed, except this is unironic and real. These people really do love Donald Trump this much. This is the kind of thing you don't see with Democrats or Democrat presidents or whatever. Sure, you see this with movements. You see people who believe that Black Lives Matter a great deal, and they feel that other people in government and the police and things, they don't believe that Black Lives Matter. So sometimes you'll see them put a flag out there, a Black Lives Matter flag, to show their support for a movement that they feel that Black lives really do matter and that should be spread. That's very different from a person being venerated and basically worshipped the way that we're seeing here. Idolized, like Kuhneman was saying, wasn't happening. This is a level 2 cult, what I would call a level 2 cult, a cult of personality. They are obsessed with Donald Trump. I mean, if the golden idol of Donald Trump wasn't enough to make you think this is a fucking cult, this should be enough. You don't see Obama voters with gigantic fucking Obama flags on their trucks driving down the road 6 years after Obama won the election. You don't see that shit. You see that shit with Trump. 3 years later, 4, 5 years later, after he wins the election, and these people still have giant Trump flags on their trucks. These should be red flags that this is a cult.